Good morning, good afternoon, good evening, everyone around the world. Hi, my name is Mary, and today we have a very special guest that is here with us, and somebody that I know her for the past 4 years. And today I have a privilege to bring her up for you people to listen to her story, her wonderful story. She is a very dynamic and hardworking lady that I got to know these past 4 years, and someone that people gave her the nickname of Energy Bunny or Duracell. Jumping around, and it's always so much of energy. All right, and so without further ado, I want to bring up my good friend Joanne Teo.
Good morning, good afternoon, good evening, everyone, friends and family. Morning, Mary.
Good morning, good morning. So Joanne, I know you and for a while now, and I know a lot about you actually, in fact, but do us a favor over here that the audience here might not know you. So can you tell us more about yourself?
Yes, thank you for this amazing opportunity to share my journey. Before I introduce myself, I want to say that, oh my gosh, it's such an honor to be able to share my story with all of you this morning. And while, I was thinking about my journey last night, and it's brought me so much of memories over the last 4 years. Never did I imagine the distance I covered in this amazing 4 years, only 4 years. It's been exhilarating, it's an amazing journey. So, well, again, my name is Joanne, and I'm 49 this year and a mother of 2 grown children. Okay, my son is 22. He's in his 2nd year in university, and my daughter just got accepted into one of the local, prestigious local university in Singapore last week. So yes, up to 4 years ago, I've been a stay-home mom for 18 long years.
Wow, isn't it amazing? 18 long years. And really, that was really a huge sacrifice that I believe that you have made. I remember in knowing you more, I know that you have a very good career before you actually sacrifice that for your children.
It's funny, I think only mothers or parents will understand this so-called sacrifice. It was, excuse me. I had an amazing career at a really young age in the area of advertising. It was fast and glamorous, and yes, and back then, my husband and me decided that I would just stay home and focus on the children. It was a really hard decision because it wasn't a job that I gave up. I gave up my career, I gave up my life, I gave up me, right, for the kids. Yes.
Yeah, I remember I met you 4 years ago, and when you just started the journey in Jeunesse, you're a total different person that you are right now, a total transformation. And many people has been asking, what's so different in Jeunesse, in you in this business in Jeunesse, and what transformed you. So maybe it's a good time tonight to share with us what happened after you come on board in Jeunesse.
Great question. Okay, but before that, maybe I'll just backtrack my life and why I came back. I didn't really have to work back then. So, why did I make that huge decision after 18 years? 18 months is a long time. 18 years, it's like a really long time. So what made me come back to society rather? There were several reasons. First, I didn't have to work for a long time, like 18 years. However, life doesn't always go the way you want it to be. So some years back, me and my ex-husband, things didn't really work out, so we parted ways. However, on a brighter note, some 5 years ago, I have a new relationship, and we are a blended family, so I was determined to make the best, of this new lease of life, I would call it, new lease of life. But being in a blended family really does have its challenges, you know. So there are various factors. I mean, two main ones I can tell you, two main factors why what knocked me back to society, back to the workforce, is one was this amazing, my son, you know, my firstborn son, some 5 years ago, he did really, really, really well in his education. Okay. You know, I am one person, I don't subscribe to mediocrity. I don't. So I guess I inculcated that to my kids. So they had amazing results. So 5 years ago, you know, we had a banter. You know, I advised him what he should do for his, well, tertiary education, and that didn't lead so well. I remember him telling me, but you know, Mom, what did you know of the world today? And you know, he said it with so much in his eyes that I cried. And I realized that, you know, in a very short while, I lost the respect of my son, you know, my firstborn son, that the one I sacrificed everything for, you know. It was devastating. Many, many months, I tried to reinvent myself, but it was impossible because, you know, 18 years is a really long time, you know, and I guess he was right. And more currently, the other push factor was in a blended family, there can be tensions, you know, that arise from such a, you know, a relationship. So after my previous relationship, I was determined. I was so determined that I was not going to let any situation or anyone control my life. You know, I wanted to take control of my life, and I wanted the best for them. And these two little precious ones, not so little today, but they were the main reason, you know, they were my biggest why. I wanted to come back to show them two things, you know, that at any stage in your life, if you put your mind to it, you have the mental tenacity, you can make a difference, you can change your life, you know. I wanted to model that for them. At the same time, I wanted the best for them, you know. They deserve the best, you know. As parents, we always want the best. So those were my reasons why I came back to society.
Yes, I totally can understand that. You know, myself, I have 3 children, and it's also the real reason and the only reason that I'm in Jeunesse right now. You know, and that's totally awesome, and that's what touches many people over here. And I remember when we just started the journey, we we went to attend a class, didn't we?
Yes. Well, what happened was that, you know, although I had a big why to come back to society, I didn't know what I should do. I mean, I'm not a doctor, not a lawyer, or I'm not an accountant like you. I really didn't know. And to be honest, my son was right. I truly was obsolete. Whatever I had studied is really obsolete. The marketing, the skills and everything has changed, you know. So I confided in a very, very good friend who then introduced this amazing business. Now I call amazing business called Jeunesse, you know. And she said, you know, I know what you want and I may have something for you. So I listened to the opportunity, and she said, it's really, you know, Joe, it's really something up your alley. It's about beauty. All women want to be beautiful, right? And to be youthful. And it's e-commerce. And I thought, wow, you know, this is the trend. My kids think I'm obsolete. This is something that I would want to do. I guess it's the best trend, but I didn't know how, you know. And more importantly, I had a lot of self-doubt. Could I really do it? And you know, being a stay-at-home mom for 18 years, and I keep telling this, you know, I didn't have very many friends and many social groups. You know, I only had 6 friends. And I, for one, was a bit skeptical. Was it a real business, you know, and could I do it? And I didn't want to do a business that I would lose all my friends. I mean, that was my greatest fear, you know, and I want to be honest and authentic. That was my greatest fear at the beginning of the journey. Would I lose all my friends, you know? So yes, and then, you know, Mary, you brought me to an amazing class. It was and this is what this beautiful platform does, you know, it has systems and trainings to allow, you know, it's funny, to allow an average Joe, I'm Joe, right? An average Joe who wants to transform, you know, an ordinary life, right? So, and during this class, we were asked to do a vision board, okay? So
yes,
again,
I remember that.
you know, and it's funny. When I was doing this vision board, I got all these pictures from Google, including the words dream with all your mind, believe with all your heart, and achieve with all your might. You know, back then it didn't really make so much sense, but it really sounded like something that one person should do, right? But at this, I want to share with you that at this point, you know, I didn't really think I could achieve all that. I mean, how could I? I mean, I've never earned anything, not even $100 in the last 18 years. What made me think I could do? I mean, there was a lot of self-doubt. However, you know, we were asked to dream big, you know, dream with all my mind. And this was my dream with all my mind back then, 4 years ago.
Yeah, I remember you did it so well that you were one of those that being selected to stand on stage to present your dream board.
Yeah. And one other thing I want to share with everyone listening in today, when I shared on Dreamboard during that particular course I attended, we were asked to wear pants and casual clothes because we had to run and stuff. And so I held my dream board and I was asked to share, and I was not prepared to share in front of just 20 people. So I shared with, I guess at that moment it evoked my emotions. I was crying, and I was crying because I was uncertain. I didn't know how to start, you know. But the funny thing was, you know, there was a video, but my knees were knocking because I couldn't speak. I didn't have a voice, and my knees were knocking. I mean, that was 4 years ago. I remember that so vividly yesterday. Yes.
And then your journey started, right?
Yes. Well, it all began with a vision that my girlfriend planted to me, how I could achieve, and the cause, you know, what I wanted for my children, what I wanted for me, and the family. You know, I had a vision, but it was a bumpy start because, you know, I didn't have very many friends, and I didn't know who to approach. And it was a tumultuous start that made this vision a bit hazy. And this is basically what I'm trying to tell you. It was a bit hazy. I asked, you know, I saw a vision, and I was like, you know, after that particular class, I was all pumped up, and I really went out to share with my heart, with close friends, of course, right? And, you know, I had people telling me, it doesn't work. It's a scam. You know, I remember going to my friends and I heard the kids' background. I say, Mom, I think Auntie Joe is trying to scam you, you know. It was horrendous. I remember I went to my brother, you know, I told him, you know, I saw something, you know, we could do it together. And my brother said, yeah, you know, he came for the opportunity meeting, and he listened, and he said, you know, I've done it before. I've done online before. If I can't do it, what makes you think you can do it? What do you know about the internet? And he was right. I didn't, you know. And well, he was right half that I didn't know. But what the other half he didn't know was this sister had the tenacity, I guess, you know. So, and then I said to him, you know, at that point, it was, you know, I was pumped up with the vision, a bit hazy, but I refused, you know, because my why was so big. So, and I asked my brother, I remember asking my brother, I said, okay, you won't do this, you know, and you said that, he didn't say the word losers in that sense, but he said, this is not what young people would do. So I said, okay, would you then give me some people to call that may want to do the business with me? And so he did. And guess what? Then my journey started.
Yes, I remember our first
meeting. My journey started in my home. You know, it started in the home, you know. As much as it looks so amazing here and it was all happy, you know, my kids, it wasn't the easiest journey, you know. My kids didn't understand, and they kept asking me, is this necessary? Because, you know, for 18 years, I've always been there for them, for everything, you know, and suddenly mommy wasn't around. And I mean, well, they're grown, you know, I did explain to them that, you know, this is something mommy would do for a short period of time. And I want to make sure, you know, that I wanted to be the one, you know, to provide for them for the university. I don't know how many of you saw my earlier dream, my dream board at the corner of the left-hand side was I wanted to be, you know, to give them that education, you know. And so my journey started here, you know, this right at the bottom there, this guy in sitting down, the one in glasses is my brother, by the way, you know. So how it happened was that two of his closest friends saw what I saw and decided to join me. And because they did, my brother did it as well. So my brother actually did join because his friends came in, okay? So, and this really started my journey. However, again, I hit another low point in my career because I think, you remember, Mary, when there was an event in Hong Kong University, right? And in Hong Kong University, and I at that point I didn't make very much effort. I didn't want to go, so I said, Mary, these two partners, if you can help me, because they were willing to go and learn. But at that moment, I wasn't, So they went with you, with other leaders in your huge organization, and they went to Hong Kong, right? And you told me, wow, how wonderful it is, how pumped up they would be, and how much they would learn. I remember all that, And I want to share with you that, on the last day of the Hong Kong University, one of the partners, Sean, called me from Hong Kong. And he called me and he said, Jo, meet me at the airport. And at the tone of his voice, I had chills down my spine. I was like, I wonder what happened, I didn't know. And I said, what? He says, doesn't matter, just meet me at the airport. And I'm like, okay, but I can tell you the next few hours were like time stood stand still, okay? And then it hit the lowest point of my life when he came back and he told me that they really felt so lost in Hong Kong. They felt they didn't have a leader, and worse, I was being compared to many other amazing leaders and stuff, and many things that he said, first was, why I wasn't there. A leader should be there to show up. I wasn't on point on my presentations. My knowledge wasn't up to mark. And it was a face-to-face. It was a face-to-face thing, I've been a stay-home mom for 18 years. That was a rough point, And it was my lowest point. And I was wondering, right, should I quit? I mean, my journey just started. Should I quit? I mean, maybe this is not for me. Maybe my brother was right. I wasn't up to it. Maybe it wasn't me, So it was really a low point. But I want to say at this point, so much gratitude I have for you, Mary. Thank you so much for being there at my lowest point, to show me my potential, to keep talking to me, And upon that, started another journey, was a journey to realize that I cannot expect other people to do what I don't do. At that point, I went back, after being sad, I took it constructively, and I was determined. I was so determined to be a leader, to lead by example, because what my partner Sean said, and he was spot on. And he was really, really spot on. I was determined to be a leader that someone respected. And I told myself I would learn the fastest, grow the fastest, and I would evolve and be a leader that they look up to and respect. And I could not expect anyone to do what I didn't do. I mean, that was the very, very first important lesson in this journey. And there was the start of a global business. And that's Sean, every single night after that night from what I call the Hong Kong pep talk, right? Every single night, I took it upon myself 1 to 2 hours of self-learning. I changed my entire staple. Back then as a stay-home mom, I watched Korean dramas. I watched Food Network Asia. I changed every single of my habits and my lifestyle to hone my skill. I believe in the power of proximity. When I was down, I would listen to any motivational, I became like a junkie for learning, from a Les Brown to Eric Worre, you name it, every single diamond. Kim, was a motivation. Samson, so many of my leaders here, Yvonne. Every single night, I'll be learning either the Jeunesse Longevity TV or leaders to motivate me. and Sean saw the amazing change, and then we started to grow our business globally. And I put myself up there. I made sure if it was to learn, it would be me, and it would be the fastest. And this picture last night when I dug it out from my Dropbox, I remember one of the diamonds, I think it must be Yvonne, who said, if you haven't presented until you sit in the toilet bowl and fell asleep, you haven't done it. Well, okay, I didn't sleep on the toilet bowl, but I remember totally knocking out the airport while waiting for a flight back from India. And this was an amazing time when, I think the growth at this point, you can see from the pictures here that every opportunity I got to speak, to hone my skill, to present, I took every single opportunity, and every challenge I took was with zest, enthusiasm, and I took it to learn. I think that this has, apart from growing the amazing team, as you can see from here, the amazing thing was my own personal growth. From a person 4 years ago with a crowd of 20 people with my knees knocking, I'm able to stand on my own and do presentations, and personal growth in our industry is so important, because too many times we've been told, by other people, find, if you want to be a superstar, be that superstar. If you want to earn like a pro, be like a pro. And this is one thing that, stuck with me since the day I heard it from Kim, and she said, success is an inside job, and each time when I was tired and I felt that the journey wasn't smooth, I remember that if I want to be successful, it starts from here and nowhere else. And that was my personal journey. So that's part of my journey, which I wanted to share, how I conquered all the adversities. Those of you who saw earlier on the pictures of my team, my little team in my home, it wasn't all that smooth, because each time the team was here, when my kids came back from school, they would slam the door, they would roll their eyeballs. And when the team left, my son would turn to me and said, so mom, are you a millionaire? Is it necessary? My husband would tell me, come on, is it even a real business? I had so many objections, but each one, I made it. Every single negativity just added to more determination, to add on speed to my growth. And that's how I grew the business. And I remember, 2.5 years in the business, and the GM of Singapore said, Jo, you're doing an amazing job, because I had the youngest, fastest growing team in Singapore. But I couldn't have done it without you, your mentorship, and an amazing system that we have today to leverage on, to really make an average Joe transform. It's nothing short of amazing.
And I remember when you started your small team at the time, and we were traveling, and you love your team so much, you put in so much effort as you break through yourself, that you used to tell me, Mary, I don't travel with strangers, I don't travel with other people, I only travel with my family. That's why you refuse to travel the first round. Yeah. And then you ask me another question and say, wow, now I sacrifice so much for them. I saw other team that they lose their team. Can I don't lose my team? Do you think if I love them so much, they will stay with me? And then what is my answer to you? Which is,
you were brutal, Mary. I remember in Jakarta, because I started my brand new journey with Sean, and I built Indonesia, so I was so happy with the growth, right? And I said, I will, as a mom, moms love and coddle your kids. I asked Mary, if I love them and I care for them, can I never lose my team? And Mary, you were brutal. And she looked at me.
Answer to her. Yeah, exactly.
She looked straight at me in the eye, and she said, Jo, that's one thing for sure. you will lose your team. And I remember immediately I was bawling my eyes out. I said, I don't want to lose my team.
Yeah, I'm just telling you that, you know, in life, no matter how you treat people, it's a journey that there are people that will leave, but there are people who will stay as well.
But one thing you did right, you know, and I'm grateful for today, now that we are on this conversation, I am grateful that you set the right expectation. I mean, I think if anything, on anyone's learning today and listening in today for your first time, expectations are so important. And I'm so glad, you know, very early on in the journey, you didn't sugarcoat anything from me and you set the expectation. And one other thing, you know, that triggered my memory now, why was I able to be one of the youngest, fastest growing team? And that was because you set those expectations. And many times out there, we hear people telling us, you know, you only need to bring 2 persons, you become this a millionaire, or 3 persons. But you set the right expectations right from day one from me and network. And the reason why my team grew is because I worked. And because I worked and I led by example, they worked. What I did, they followed. And that was, it's just duplication, exactly.
Totally amazing. So can you share with us more? How did you build your team then further on?
The next slide will, you know, give you a glimpse of, you know, how from zero, you know, I had a dream, I had a vision, but truly this effort is not one person. I can lead by example, but the teamwork truly, you know, as cliche as it sounds, but the teamwork truly is that makes each person's dream work, right? So very early on, very early on in my journey, you know, I had a dream board and there was just setting goals. But if you really looked into that particular dream board, you will realize that I had a timeline. I had a timeline to these goals, not forever and ever. I set goals with a timeline. So my advice, you know, for those of you listening in, or those of you who haven't gotten that breakthrough, no, I had my breakthrough when I set goals and I set specific deadlines. Of course, we may not achieve, but aim for the stars. You know, why not? And really keep it simple. I mean, don't overcomplicate things, because the more complicated it becomes, it's become very hard to duplicate. But this word duplicate, however, I want to share with you, got me thinking, you know, we can't duplicate another Mary. I can't count, right? Not many people have my energy, right? So I'm just one of those with naturally a lot of energy and passion, right? So the duplicate, it's not so much of like a cloned person, but what you did for me, Mary, to duplicate is to build on each person's unique strength. It's like in a ball game, right? In a team sports, like in football or in basketball, not everybody can play that one role. We each have our role for defend, for I guess, attack. In a netball, for example, we each have our strength and we build on that strength. And that's what you did for me. And that's how we duplicated this amazing system, because there's no perfect person. That's your words, right? There's no perfect person, but there can be a perfect team with all the different people with all our unique strengths. And then with our strength, we empower ourselves and we empower them and we build momentum. And that's the beautiful part, you know, of what I've learned in this journey, in this business journey that I really took this to inculcate that to my kids as well. And of course, you know, that's what you taught me, to unleash each other's potential, to inspire them, you know. But first, you know, to inspire people, the thing is that people say it, let's inspire people. But I have one other key message. The only way, I can't stress it enough, the only way we can inspire someone is we must be inspired. To empower someone, we first need to be empowered, right? So this energy, people are contagious. I don't know if you can feel my energy, but people truly are contagious. The longevity of our lives, the longevity of our business truly are the people that we surround ourselves with. And that's why from the very beginning, what I do is I surround myself the power of proximity. I surround myself with positivity. Now, my environment wasn't the most positive, but I had Mary. And in the quiet of the night, I had Les Brown, I had Kim, I had Yvonne, I had Samson, all surrounding me to give me the energy, the power to cope with all the challenges and the negativities. So what I want to share with everybody is really there's power in proximity, and you need to be first inspired to inspire others, to evoke and to cause action to happen, basically, and for personal growth to happen. And each of us, you know, I realize this with my growth, that our own personal growth is directly proportionate to financial growth. So if we don't grow, don't even think that our business can grow. So this has been my biggest takeaway, and I hope that, you know, that was the best thing that I have learned. But over and above that, the things that help us grow, but grow healthily, is team culture. It's team culture. And notice what I learned from this amazing family here. It's about gratitude. It's about respecting one another's space, and edification. How we edify our mentors, how we edify our leaders, and to always act with love, because especially with our words, I want to say words have so much power. We can inspire people, or we can tear people down. So love, speak with love, act with love, and always with a serving heart. And if we ourselves model that, that just translate to a very healthy team culture, and the culture that, you know, well, I can say I grew up in this amazing family that taught me these basic fundamentals. I won't say just for business, but for life. I mean, if we live life this way, can you imagine how wonderful the world will be? Yeah. And with these simple principles, these simple steps, and these very doable culture, it led to my personal growth. I remember only being in the business for a couple of months, you know, when I push on my accelerator, brakes on, you know, I had so many awards, you know. I had the Pacemaker Award, I had the Star Maker Award. These were awards I didn't even get in school. You know, it's amazing, man. And you know, my mom was there. She was so proud of me. There's no picture of my son, but at some point in here, you know, I want to share with you that my son, who didn't respect me 5 years ago, you know, I just told all of you, right? He's in his year 2 in university. But when he was doing his application for his university, right? I was in India, and he was doing his application. I don't know if you remember that, Mary. And he sent me a mail. I said, Mommy, can you look into your email? You know, help me look at the grammar for my personal statement. And when I read it, I was bawling. You know, I want to share with you something today. If anything, apart from the financial, you know, one of my biggest gain, without me crying, I was in India. My son said, Mommy, can you help me? I need to submit this, go through with it. It's my personal statement. And the question was, what were his personal strengths, right? And he wrote a whole bunch of his personal strengths. And one thing, you know, that really touched me was, he said, oh, one of my biggest strengths is resilience and tenacity and a never give up attitude, because this was modeled to me by my mom. Wow. That was so amazing. So I remember one of the awards in the office, I asked, you know, because my children were not really supportive of my journey, you know. So when I told him I had ranked up then, you know, to elite, and I said, would you come? And he said, yes. And I'm like, you will? And he said, Mom, I'm so proud of you. You know, it's funny when we think that our kids, you know, at that age, they want to do well, for us to be proud of them. At this moment, I wanted them to be proud of me as well, you know. So, but this is just my personal journey. But was that sufficient? No. So it was just not about me anymore, you know, and it was about the team, you know. This growth of the business has then shifted. You know, we've heard enough. The speed of the leader determines the speed of the team. It is so true. And that's why we're action upon action. Action upon action, action upon action. And Mary, I mean, I'm so grateful for this amazing system that we have, that everybody who sets their goals, I mean, so right from the very beginning, anybody who embarks this journey with us, you know, has an SOP. We do goal setting together. And the previous slide was people who wanted with us to do simple goal setting, what they wanted specifically, just like me when I began, specific goals, specific deadlines, when they wanted to achieve. And those who wanted them, you know, we nurtured their strength. And the people who wanted to achieve, we sat down with them every single night, working on their dreams and understanding what challenges they have every single night. And of course, we leverage on all kinds of events, from global events like these to the ones that I'll do locally. Oops. Okay. So, I mean, these are just things how, you know, a leader, you know, if you can see from here, it's not the 1 mile that I go, the 10 miles, because we lead truly by example, and the team, the speed of the leader truly depends, you know, the speed of the team truly depends on the leader. And that's why, you know, if you want to have superstars, we be the superstars, you know, and we have to be constant and we have to be genuine to show care. And with that, not only do I get those awards, my team, it is all about them, you know, it's all about transforming lives one at a time. Truly, it is that, you know. So I think one of my biggest achievements today, I used to say that, you know, I grew, you know, I raised 2 kids, you know, I raised a family of so many. Today, you know, my greatest accomplishment is not the color of my stone, what rank I am, but the lives I'm able to touch, the lives I'm able to change. And that has been so monumental in this journey.
And I remember this picture of Jeremy, your brother, is on stage with his wife. Yeah, and I remember that, you know, the first rejection, that your biggest rejection is where you share the business with your brother and he made you cry, because, you know, that was when you were just a rookie and you wanted your brother to join you in the business so much, not for anything, but you saw at the time, I have another team, brother and sister team, that is Chris and Trisha, and you wanted to also have that with your brother, your only brother that you have. And at a point of time, he rejected you, and you were so sad and you cried. But now today, your brother is a Sapphire Elite and up on stage at Expo, and it totally bring joy. And you and your brother has grown so much closer than before. Can you share a little bit about that?
Exactly. You know, I can't. Okay, you know, I guess, you know, the reason for this passion, the reason for this energy is truly because this is such a meaningful a place where you empower people's lives. You have the ability to change health, change financial, change family. You know, I was never that close to my brother, and this business, this amazing place, this amazing Janice, rich family relations. And not only do I have one brother, now I've got families globally. You know, I've got families globally. I've got people calling me sisters from all race, all continents, and all colors. I love it.
And then the wonderful thing is, like, your first incentive trip.
Oh my gosh, you know, yes, this is mind-blowing. This was my first maiden holiday trip ever in 47 years traveling without my family. Okay, so I accomplished this trip, was it 8 months in the journey, you know, because you know, because of goals, because of goal setting and working it. I didn't once look back, you know, and it was because of this presentation that I look back and I discovered the journey that I covered. My gosh, you know, it's been only 4 years. And if I think through the 18 years, what I accomplished, I can't believe it. So this was my first journey. And I went to this first incentive trip alone. My second incentive trip last year, I brought 4 partners, my brother, my sister-in-law, and 2 other partners. And this year's Iceland trip, I managed to bring 23 others. 23. It's not so much the people who could go to Iceland, but the lives and the quality of the lives that I managed to inspire them. Can you imagine how many lives we can change? Back to this.
Yeah. And this vision board, many have been achieved.
And back to this old vision board, this old torn vision board. 2 years ago, when my son got in, after he wrote his personal statement, he was chosen in one of the top local university in Singapore. And he said, you know, Mom, so I got into the university, you know, do we tell Dad, you know, but the fees and everything. So I told him, you know what? This is Mommy's greatest gift for you. Because Mommy's got this. Because Janice got this. And I can tell my daughter the same thing. So last year we had a Sapphire retreat. When I look back at my vision board and I realized that, you know, so many things I could do, you know, and with Janice, I managed to do so many firsts. I managed to take my children after working so hard, right? And I said, you know, Mommy promised you I'll exchange 2 to 3 years of my journey and I'll make life so much better for us. And I managed to take them to Taiwan. And just before this entire pandemic, oh my God, thank goodness for that, right? I brought them to Taiwan. And you know, and I said, you know, this has been the greatest gift from Janice and the team. And they said, no, it was the greatest gift from Mom. So it was a trip that is monumental. So I
saw your mom in this picture. And if it's not for the pandemic, you will have fulfilled the dream of bringing her to Iceland.
Oh my gosh. Yes. Oh my God. Yes, Mary. Thank you so much for bringing this up. I wanted to be able to take my mom to Europe. Did I ever think in my wildest imagination when I did this artwork, I could do something so huge, you know? But, you know, this Iceland trip, if it wasn't for the both of us, would be in Iceland.
Yeah. Yeah. And also, like, all these presentation slides was beautiful done by your daughter, who used to, like, you know, very upset when you have teams after teams comes to your house, and they felt that, you know, Mom, you make our house into like a workplace, and they're always complaining. But now she even helped you with all the slides that you're doing today, and also
so the next slide was my upgraded, you know, because we need big dreams. I can't say it enough. We need to dream. So my elevated purpose, my elevated dreams, you know, not to just she wants to study in Sydney. My daughter wants to be a clinical psychologist. So, you know, I believe it that, you know, in the next 3 years, Janice, again, will be able to bless her to go to Sydney for her university, and, you know, to travel with my mom, more places with my brother, and, you know, to achieve so much more and to really make a difference to humanity. Because this amazing place called Janice provided the vehicle for me to travel, right? Against all weathers, COVID or otherwise, I'll just say. It's the perfect vehicle. This amazing system that we have was the amazing GPS to navigate my path, you know, we don't really don't overcomplicate things. You know, one of the greatest thing I want to thank my son was he really shrunk me back to my size by telling me I didn't know anything. I came here and I relearned everything from scratch. I was willing to learn because I mean, my son told me I couldn't do anything, you know. But when I did this vision board last year, when I wrote the same words, dream with all my mind, believe with all my heart, and achieve with all my might, this time those words pierced my heart because Kim's word came to mind. Don't just believe with your heart, but Kim's exact words was believe with every single fiber of your being. And truly, this vision board, this time I'm smarter. I didn't use a Vanguard sheet. I used a hard one. So if I keep on removing it, you know, to see it, to live it, to envision myself in it, I won't have those tapes all around. And so, you know, I hope this sharing of my journey, tumultuous with amazing ups and downs like a roller coaster, I want to share with you how amazing, and I won't trade not a single day of it at all in my life. This has been the best journey of my life, but my journey has just started. So I encourage you to believe in the power of dreams. Set your goals, you know, especially now that we have this diamond vision, you know, aim for the stars. You can impact so many other lives. Aim with your stars, dream big, you know, dream with your mind, believe with your heart, and then massive action and achieve it with all your might. With that, you know, I want to share with you the biggest gift was an attitude of gratitude. So that's my journey.
Wow, you know, wonderful. I mean, this is totally amazing. You know, there's so many times that I heard your story on stage, on site, sharing, and every time it never stopped moving me. And it's indeed like knowing that I'm walking through together with you in these 4 years, you have totally transformed to. I remember one of your friends that you brought into the business, you know, you used to say, I only got 6 friends, you know, and then after that, I met one of your friends, Samantha, right? It's her name. And she came and then I was telling Samantha, wow, did you see Joe's changes? Because when I know you, you were being introduced to me as a housewife, right? So then you became a global entrepreneur. And I was like, wow, even I was amazed, you know, when I remember the first time when we went to the Jakarta, and I was the one that is doing the presentation, but there was one occasion because you needed to speak Bahasa, right? And I couldn't. So I said, Joe, you have to present. And then you start presenting, and then you start to interact and talk about your story. And I remember one part when you talk about, oh, you know, you used to be in business even in F&B, and then you brought a staff advertising from 20 staff to 60 staff strength. And then after the meeting, I went to you. Do you remember that? And I said,
I know, I was offended.
Say, wow, how can you craft up such a lie?
Yeah, you know,
presentation.
Friends and family, because, you know, I was being edified by, you know, my sponsor back then that I was a homemaker, but she wasn't wrong. I was a homemaker for 18 years, you know. And so when I told her, you know, about my previous career, and she said, wow, how do you do that like so quickly, you know? How did you craft a story like that? And I said, that's not a story. That's really me. Really? And I'm like, Mary, you think I'll tell a lie?
Yeah, that's totally amazing. I remember then I was like, wow, I saw your transformation from the day one I know you. And then so we got your friend Samantha in, and then I thought, like, you know, she's like your sponsor who I brought you in, and knowing you as a housewife. So I was telling her, did you see Joe's transformation? That she's totally transformed into a global entrepreneur. And then your friend replied me, no, she's exactly the same when I know her. And then I said, how come? And I realized she was a very old friend before you quit yourself from the society, working society, and became an 18 years housewife. All right, so
well, I want to share with you, Mary.
Like you.
Yeah, but I want to share with you something, okay? I myself didn't recognize myself when she said that. It sounded foreign. I'm like, was she referring to me? I couldn't tell, you know. It was like I couldn't tell, you know. I had forgotten me. So this place, I found me, I found my purpose. Not only did I find my purpose, I found an elevated purpose, you know. And before I forget, I want to share something with you, you know. People don't become what they want. People become what they believe. And I truly believe.
Thank you, Joe, so much that, you know, this is a wonderful journey. And this is also the reason that I'm still in this business for the past 7 years. And I always share this story. If there's 10 children drowning and I could only save one, you know, and that one child, I will go all the way out to save that one child. It's all worth it. You know, it is totally wonderful.
I'm that child. I'm that child you saved.
So before we end the story today, you know, we know that these 2 months, we're having this diamond vision. Am I right?
Yes.
So we have been so busy looking at the pictures, like our team know, and we have this shared calendar. I will tell you, as being a leader, we have this shared calendar, share with our team leader. So Joe, can you share with the audience here, like how do we work towards helping individual, the team, to achieve like what you achieve?
Well, it's very simple, you know, for us, I mean, actions, right? So actions, not just actions, you know, massive actions, but these actions started with me, you know. So what I do is we have a shared calendar, like what you say, and then this calendar is shared to the entire team, and especially those who want to achieve. And that's how, you know, every single time, you know, I have my entire, it's not about me anymore, but entire teammates achieving the incentive trips, achieving, it used to be the shoot for sapphire, you know, race to something, and I make sure every single one achieve it, because it's this baby steps, number one, right? So we make sure everybody plugs in the system. Number one, system is so important because we can't do this alone. You know, it's impossible. So we leverage on the system and the calendar. And everybody who wants that, you know, we have a separate group, and we do this private, coaching. You know, we make sure everybody who wants to achieve gets the full attention to achieve their ranks, their goals, and their bonuses.
And we call it the SOP, right?
We call it SOP, the standard operating procedure, and that's the first thing. After you're in the team, the first thing without anything else is the SOP. Yes.
Exactly. Because it's so important to write down your why. And that's the reason why Joe over here, that she, you know, she didn't have a good time working out in the business. There's so many rejection, and her brother is not only one brother who have rejected her in the beginning. There was many, but she didn't give up. Why she didn't give up is because of her why, and she wrote down her why, and she draw out. They make the why into a dream board, and which is physical to the eye. So one of the tips that I can give you, and that's what the system taught us also, your why must be stronger than how. You know, the how can be taught easily, but the why comes from within yourself, isn't it, Joe?
Definitely. And really, you know, there's truly greatness within us. Never ever let any person's anybody's negativity affect you, because we're greater than that. So, but I mean, the last session with Samson, he says, dig deep your why. You know, that, you know, my kids were my greatest why. But at the same time, you know, I want to share something with all of us, you know, apart from that why, and apart from listening to all that Eric Warre, now I've seen too many times people who go for events and after events and videos after videos, but they don't do anything. And when you don't do anything, nothing happens. It's just a daydream. So action upon action. But when you are the leader, that the people that look at you, when you set the example, trust me, you will move people, you will move mountains. Truly you will.
Totally. So, you know, thank you that today that we have, did I not promise you that we had an awesome and dynamic speaker today, a special guest like Joanne Teo, that totally inspire. And as a leader, you know, as a mentor, can I tell you that I'm also totally inspired by her, of her transformation. And that leads me to wanting, you know, to have more and more people, you know, to help more and more people in this journey. It is such a rewarding journey to see every transformation that happens. And there's so many in the team right now that seeing a small little transformation, and slowly and surely that they're helping them to achieve their dreams, and helping them to dig their
deep.
why.
Yes, dig
Exactly.
your deep why. And
Yeah.
you know, it all begins with a mindset of just let's start changing lives one at a time.
Yes. So tonight, thank you for having us tonight, and I hope this session help you guys to build your dream and to build dig deep your why and continue on the journey. So if you are facing any adversity, you're facing any obstacles in front of you, just remember your why. Pin your dream board in front of you day and night.
Surround yourself
and you'll never lose focus.
Surround yourself with your mentors and plug in the system.
Yes, that's the right thing to do. Plug in the system, plug into UAG system, and you know, together we can achieve our dream. All right. So
thank you so much.
Yeah. So today we end off with this session. Thank you for having us here to give us an opportunity to share with you. And I want to thank Joe for doing this so heartfelt sharing that's so authentic and opening up your stories for us to learn from you. Thank you, Joe.
Good night, everyone. Good morning, good day.
Good night, everyone. Bye.